We are back, episode number 6 of the Spread Option Podcast. Brian and Nick here with you. It was a tough week last week. Just schedules did not align. We could not make it happen. I was traveling 3 out of the 4 days, essentially leading up to and into the weekend. And the one day I was around, I wasn't really around, and Nick's job forces him to be there at all hours of the night. So it just didn't work out too well for either of us.
Yeah, pretty much Cuck City on that one last week, but we're going to make it up to you with a good episode this week, hopefully. So, hopefully a little better than Alabama covering 49.5.
Yeah, that was the biggest backdoor of backdoors right there. I did not have a good week last week. I actually had my first losing week of the season, 9-11, including a West Virginia minus half a point second half where they got outscored like 24-34-7, which just wasn't good. They're the worst second half team in America.
Yeah, and Clemson did not look too sharp.
Nope.
Trevor Lawrence going down and just playing sloppy, uncharacteristic football. Something about Syracuse, they kind of pushed the right buttons. Of course, Clemson won that game there late at the end to fend off. Michigan did not perform as well as many people thought.
Including me.
3 points and needing a hell of a comeback. I believe that they trailed by as many as 17.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's biggest comeback so far.
My lock of the week lost. I had North Texas, and they lost outright.
I'm trying
didn't even come close to covering.
Trying to think what my lock of the week was.
Hopefully it was a winner.
Yeah, it's pretty bad that we didn't even go back and trying to think what the hell it was.
Well, while you're thinking of that, we've got 3 ranked matchups and then the rest of our slate of college football games. We'll open up with the Red River rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma. Texas has covered 5 consecutive years and won outright in 2 of those 5. They are 7.5-point underdogs right now. Oklahoma 5-0. Texas with a strange season after losing to Maryland. They've come back and played pretty nicely. They struggled last week with Kansas State. Who are you liking in this one?
This is the week where Oklahoma turns it up in a big way. The scare against Army was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Completely unexpected.
Game wasn't even on TV.
And then obviously last week they played again and looked a lot better. But
they scored 66 points. I think they played Baylor. 66 points, though.
Yeah.
The offense looked good.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to take into consideration who they were playing. So,
right.
This week, though, I've been saying it the whole time. They've got serious weapons in a number of areas. You've got Rodney Anderson. You've got Kyler Murray, who's a Heisman candidate. And I really just don't trust Ehlinger for Texas. I mean, I think he's a decent quarterback, but I think Oklahoma is going to turn it up in a big way this week. I think they pose big problems for him. Texas's defense has stepped up at times this year, against like TCU and stuff, but at times they've looked very vulnerable, like against Maryland. So against Oklahoma, you can't be inconsistent. You got to bring you got to bring it every drive. And I think, there's not going to be any fun in games this week. Kyler Murray is going to start the game. He might not even finish it. I think it's going to be kind of a, pretty big win. I'm thinking Oklahoma might win this game by like 20 points or something because I don't know. I think they're going to pour it on offensively.
So Texas had trouble with Kasim Hill, who is Maryland's quarterback. He's like a poor man's Kyler Murray, I'd say. He's a dual threat, but he's a dual threat in that he's a better runner than he is thrower. I think Murray is a very good thrower of the football. He just doesn't have to do it very often. I don't know if Rodney Anderson's playing in this one. I know he's been dealing with an injury, but even so, they still have Sermon in the backfield and Hollywood Brown on the outside. So there's plenty of weapons there.
CeeDee Lamb's my dude.
Yes, they've not only do they have great players, they have great names.
Yeah, you know what? That's the betting intangibles. A guy like C.D. Brown, and
exactly.
How you gonna lose that?
So, I agree with a lot of what you said. I feel like this is the time where Texas is on the cusp of being back. If they win this game, I think they're back, and that is why I'm going Oklahoma, because I just don't think that Tom Herman is there yet. He gets his guys up to play big games. That is quintessential Tom Herman, and I think it's close in the first half, and then I think Lincoln Riley makes the adjustments at halftime and gets his offense rolling. So 7.5 points, maybe by the hook, but I think Oklahoma can win this by double digits.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think buying the hook is not a bad play at all. I mean, it is a rivalry game. Texas is going to be up and ready for it. I mean, they're 4-1. They're feeling good anyway. Mm-hmm. Recently off a big win against, TCU and everything. So, rivalry game, neutral site, a lot can happen. I don't think a hook's a bad play. Even though I think that Oklahoma's going to pull away late in this game like you do.
Right.
I don't think that's a bad play. 7.5, I mean, rivalry game by 2 scores is always, no matter how good the teams are, especially when you saw Oklahoma have a scare against Army. So even though I'm saying I think it's going to be kind of lopsided, like people are wrong and sometimes. And so I don't think the hook's a bad play in a rivalry game on a neutral site at all.
I'm with you. LSU heads to the Swamp to take on Florida. Gators 4-1, Tigers 5-0. LSU 3-point favorites here. It's definitely a tough one because Florida is all over the place. They're coming off a huge win, 13-6 over Mississippi State in Starksville. Obviously, I was joking around a little bit there with the huge win. That was Will Muschamp Florida football. That was not what I expected out of this year's iteration of the team. Their defense is for real, but does LSU have enough firepower, and does Felipe Franks in the Florida offense have enough to even score?
Yeah, that's the real question. Florida, they're just such an ugly team. Like the one game they played Tennessee, and I've never seen a team self-destruct like I saw Tennessee.
They're bad.
Brian had buddy on the balls in that game.
I got Florida live. I pretty much hedged it as hard as I could and ended up winning the Florida bet and winning like 0.1 units.
Well, there you go. That's better than a loss. So, Florida's been involved in some ugly football games, and like LSU, like I don't know what it is, but maybe this is why Florida's going to win, because I'm starting to think LSU might be competent on offense now. You put up 45 against Ole Miss. I mean, that's not an accomplishment because Ole Miss is trash. But LSU's offense moved the ball against Miami. They've moved the ball against a couple, SEC teams now. I mean, they play great defense. I think they're rolling. I think they're hot. I mean, on the road, that's why the spread's so close. But I don't think I've seen Florida win pretty enough yet to make me think they're a better team than LSU. And I think Burrow has been surprisingly good, and I would like their defense a lot. So I'm taking LSU here. And the line might even be as low as 2 on some sites. I think I've seen it move a little bit. So it's probably going to flip-flop around game time and hang right around a field goal. But I'm taking LSU. They're looking like a top 5-6 team in the country right now. So
yeah, and I think you hit on something important with LSU. Right when you think they're good is when they lose.
Right.
It's the same thing as Texas. But I think Florida is LSU light. They don't have a good quarterback. Their defense is phenomenal. If anything, they've got to rely on a good when it's their running game. I think Brissett is a very good running back, but I don't think he's shown enough consistency through 5 weeks. I'm also going LSU, but I don't feel confident in it. This is a pure I love Coach O, and I think he brings the boys ready to play. That's the only reason I'm making this bet.
Oh, and I want to touch on something. Will Muschamp, Dan Mullen. Our brains are wired to think it's Will Muschamp, but it is Dan Mullen.
Oh no, I was saying that That was a Will Muschamp type game.
Oh, back to the roots. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Back to the roots. My mistake, Brian. Joke went right over my head. That's what happens when you take a week off, right?
It's all right. We're getting back into it, like riding a bike. The nightcap of the ranked matchups is in Blacksburg. Enter Sandman will be playing 3-1 Virginia Tech, hosting undefeated Notre Dame. Pretty much the last barrier in the way of the Irish from having that perfect season that they need. They looked very impressive last week, knocking off Stanford. Ian Book looks really good, and the defense is solid. Virginia Tech, without star quarterback Josh Jackson, they actually had a nice win at Duke, although Duke was missing their top 2 quarterbacks. Who are you taking in this one? Line is at 7 right now. Notre Dame favorite.
I got to go Notre Dame. I mean, It's going to be a hostile environment, but Notre Dame's got a chance to make that crowd go quiet in a real hurry. Notre Dame's got a good defense. Notre Dame actually looks competent right now at the quarterback position with Book. It's easy to forget, but because they just beat Duke, who's been a pretty decent team, decent win at Northwestern. But this team just lost to Old Dominion, and Notre Dame's made some good teams not look so hot, and they've beaten teams pretty soundly that they've needed to. I just think they're a really good overall team, and I would really like Virginia Tech at home in a hostile environment if they were completely healthy. But without Jackson, I just don't see it happening. I think Virginia Tech's a little vulnerable. 7. I mean, if this game is at Notre Dame, this line is 20. It's the discrepancy in the teams right now is pretty big. The Vegas is really. I don't know what they're trying to get at here. If they're trying to. I don't know. It seems like they're trying to trap somebody, but I don't know who. But it's.
Yeah. So the important notes, I think, are since Ian Book took over starting was 56 and 38 points in back-to-back weeks. I mean, if Josh Jackson's healthy, this is a top 10 matchup. This is game day if he's healthy. He's not. And Virginia Tech's defense gave up 45 points, I think, to Old Dominion, over 40, which is just insane. With that, I mean, you have to go Notre Dame. This line has, throughout the week, a lot of money flooding in on the Irish, but I'm still with the public in terms of this one. Those are the ranked matchups. I got
it too, I think. 6.
What's that?
You get it 6.5, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got, I believe, a 15 additional game card. I don't know where you're at.
What else? I don't think it's 15, but I've got some things I like in college.
All right. I've got Buffalo on the road at Central Michigan, -7.5. The Chips' only win was a squeaker against Maine, so I'm feeling good about my guy Tyree Jackson, who I feel like I bet on every single week. I've got West Virginia first half. That's actually my lock of the week. They're the best first half team in America, -17 against Kansas. I'll also take the over 34 in that first half. I've got Bama -36 at Arkansas. I love this play too. Syracuse -4 at Pitt. I think Cuse is probably a top 4 or 3 team in the ACC right now.
Crazy.
I don't know who else there is. Like Virginia Tech's hurt. They still probably are better than Syracuse. Miami is probably right there. Clemson beat them, so they're obviously better. But those are the best teams in the ACC. You could throw Duke in there, but I don't know. I don't know if Duke can handle that team.
Yeah.
I'm going Iowa State +10.5 at Oklahoma State, and I'm taking a money line, so I'm doubling down on the Cyclones. This one's a tough one. Navy Air Force.
Why if it's tough?
I'm taking the over 48. The under has hit 23 out of the last 30 times these teams have met. One time it pushed. Like, water has to find its level. That's why I took this game, because you see a lopsided number like that, you think water's got to get back to level. Arizona State +3 at Colorado, and Arizona State money line. Florida Atlantic -14 home against Old Dominion. Old Dominion stinks. I don't care if they beat Virginia Tech; they still stink. Florida Atlantic.
That's their one fucking win.
Yeah, Yeah. Florida Atlantic's got a great running game. That's why I'm going with the Owls. I'm taking Kentucky plus 5.5 at Texas A&M and Kentucky money line. You'll notice a trend here. I'm taking road dogs and money line teams. North Texas against our favorite team, UTEP, 27-point favorites. I love Mason Fine in this one. Washington minus 21 at UCLA. UCLA is terrible. Washington has a very strong defense. They held BYU to 7 points and like 200 yards of offense.
Chip Kelly going to 0-5 is going to happen, which is nuts. But
yeah,
it's going to happen.
And speaking of 0-5, Scott Frost will be 0-5 when his team loses at Wisconsin. It's a night game at Camp Randall. I love the Badgers minus 17.5. Stanford minus 5.5 at home against Utah. They need a bounce back win here. Nevada plus 13.5 against Fresno State. The Wolfpack score, and that is the only reason I'm betting on them. I didn't like the over-under at 61, and it is already down to 58, so people are with me on that one. I'm not taking the over. I'm taking the points. And then my last one is the final game of the night, Hawaii minus 3 at home against Wyoming.
That's a wild game. It's just so perfect that game's at 11. It's just
can't wait to be up chasing, trying to live bet anything I can on this game.
There you go. Yeah, I'll be back at my childhood home this weekend with some family. So you know what happens when the older folks go to bed. I mean, the degenerate side comes out.
The laptop comes out and you're just betting everything.
Exactly. Yes. And I'll probably have some alcohol in my system from earlier in the night. So yeah, that drunk liquid confidence to gamble on Wyoming, Hawaii, it's a great thing.
There you go.
Anything else, Brian, or is that your?
That's it. My other lock of the week is Conor McGregor over Khabib.
Oh,
I've already put 5 units in on that one, so I'm feeling big on Conor.
120,
125
as the favorite, right?
He's the underdog.
Oh, he's underdog. So
yeah, Khabib's undefeated.
Because he's
never made it out of the first round.
Well, guys, let's lead it off with the game of the week. Illinois.
Yes.
At Rutgers, game of the week.
Oh, boy.
You got to be a special kind of degenerate to bet on this one, folks. But Rutgers is terrible. I mean, this team stinks.
They are.
Illinois, man, 6, though, is tough, but you got to ride it. I mean, if they can't beat Rutgers by a touchdown, they have some serious looking in the mirror to do. I honestly think Rutgers is really bad. Buffalo completely embarrassed them. They've lost to Kansas. I mean, this team is just utter trash. So this is one of the winnable games for my Fighting Illini, so I had to throw them in there this week. Moving along the slate of games I have, I'm going to go with West Virginia. I'm sorry. This is some bad radio, but Josh Gordon scored a touchdown for New England. So
look at that. That's history right there. Reported here first by Spread Option Podcast.
Yes. I mean, we can't get every game. I mean, we're missing some games. We could have had the Troy, Georgia State, and the Houston game this week on here, but we missed out. But anyway, Kansas on the road at West Virginia. I mean, that's going to be a massacre. Love the first half bet of Will Grier and Sills just putting up big old points on the Jayhawks at home. I really like Michigan against Maryland as well. Michigan's defense is very good. And Maryland, I don't think, is poised to score a lot of points on the road. I think that's a game where maybe Maryland can hang around for a little bit, but eventually Michigan's going to pull away, and they're going to come out pretty motivated, I think, after they kind of had a scare against Northwestern. They're going to play 2 good halves this week. So I like Michigan against Maryland. What else do I have? A few more games I definitely like. There's some interesting games this week.
What do you think of Miami 14-point favorites against Florida State?
Oh, I'm staying away from that game. because I think Florida State stinks, and I don't trust Miami. I don't like it. I don't like it either way.
I think I'm gonna end up betting Miami, but it's not gonna be one I do before the game starts. It'll be like right as it's about to kick off at 2:30.
Right. I like Wisconsin a lot too. I mean, Nebraska's defense is horrific. I mean,
they're very bad.
They're really bad, and they're on the road. And Wisconsin, against way better Nebraska defenses, has run all over them in the past. And I mean, they're just going to run it down their throat all night. So that's going to be a tough one. Man, I hate the spread, but I mean, God, this game is going to be awful. Awful. It is currently a 2-5-0-0. I don't even know what the money line is. 25,000 on Memphis right now against UConn.
Jesus. Yeah. Actually, the spread was something like 36 and the over-under, I think, was like near 80.
I've never seen a spread like that. Was like this, literally like what it looked like when Howard played at UNLV that one and won.
Right.
I have to bring that up every episode, but I mean, trying to see what else here, man. I agree with you on the Stanford pick in a big way. Let's ride the over on Hawaii, Wyoming.
All right.
I think a little nighttime scoring is going to be great. Wyoming's scored on a bunch, and Hawaii's put up some big points, and they've proven they can score the ball themselves. At 57, I think, is a pretty attainable number for sure in that kind of game. So the way Hawaii's offense has looked and the way Wyoming's defense has looked, and I think Hawaii is susceptible on the defensive side of the ball. That's actually the one over that's kind of sticking out in my mind. Kind of an interesting week. The ranked matchups are actually some of the games I'm most interested in betting on. A lot of times will stay away.
It's a weird week this week.
Yeah, it is really weird. I think my lock of the week is West Virginia is going to cover against Kansas. I think that's going to be like just a blowout. Like, I know it's crazy. Like I've said before, I stay away from these games, but really like it. A game I'm going to stay away from. I know it's weird to say, but like as a gambling show, like we can give our picks, but maybe also talk about
avoid. Yeah.
Missouri, South Carolina is really weird.
It's a pick 'em, I think.
It's moved. If it started as a pick 'em, according to my Sports Action app, no free ads, but
no free ads.
It opened as the Gamecocks a 1.5 point favorite. It's now moved to 2. So
okay.
Mizzou competed with Georgia for a little bit in their game. They know how to score the ball. The over/under 63 against a Muschamp defense. I like Drew Lock a lot, but that still seems kind of high for me. But so it's just
even can you trust South Carolina to score?
Yeah, I just don't like that game. Either way, here's an interesting line that I just kind of stumbled across.
Let's see it.
How are we feeling about BYU at home as a 2.5 point favorite?
I saw that. I liked Utah State a lot, and I just decided I couldn't pull the trigger. There were other games I liked. I wanted to double down on those Kentucky and Arizona State games.
Are they really that legit?
Utah State?
Are they legit?
I don't think it's as much they're legit as I don't believe in BYU.
I mean, what else does BYU have to do this year?
I mean, they got throttled by Washington. Their quarterback had 3 total incompletions and they lost by 28.
Yeah. I don't know. How did Wisconsin lose to those guys?
No clue.
Looking at some other stuff.
Want to go to the NFL?
Yeah, why not?
Right.
But yeah, lock of the week in college football. Give me West Virginia. And remind everybody your lock of the week.
I'm West Virginia first half.
West Virginia first half. I lean toward
Mind the Nears.
I lean toward you being possibly more right because that has backdoor potential at the end.
It does.
So yeah. All right, on to the NFL. Brian, do you want to start or should I keep it going?
Yeah. I'll kick it off. Last week I got fucked by the Atlanta Falcons, plain and simple, giving up a touchdown with under 10 seconds left. Had the Falcons not done that to me, I would have gone 4-1, would have been my biggest winner of the year, really gotten us back on track. Instead, we're back at 10-10. I'm not happy about it. Blogged my picks, so if you'd rather read than listen to me, go to letmebefrankblog.com. You can see all the info. I'm down under a unit. It's a weird setup, but that's where I'm at. I do 5 picks every week. This week was very difficult. This is the first week I don't have a lot in my picks, which may help or it just may totally backfire. Yeah. So opening it up, Green Bay, Detroit, I'm taking the over 51. I just learned today that the Packers' entire receiving core is hurt.
Oh, it's bad. Oh, I'm a Green Bay fan for those who don't know, and it's bad. It's Devontae Adams hurt his calf in practice. Cobb missed the last game. Fucking Allison has a damn concussion.
Yep. So top 3 options for Aaron Rodgers might not even play. That being said, I'm still confident in the pick. Both defenses stink. Both quarterbacks love to throw the ball around. I actually think the Packers have a pretty good run game, and if you can get Ty Montgomery into the slot, I think he'll do some damage.
Yeah, he's going to get featured a lot. Aaron Jones is the best player in the NFL that nobody knows about. I would die on that cross. He is unbelievably good. Mike McCarthy loves the running back by committee thing. He loves that running back by committee. Jamal Williams. We got to give Jamal his touches, Montgomery his touches. But Aaron Jones is just sick. I mean, he's so good. It just kills me. So, yeah, I think they're going to feature the run game, like you said, a lot, potentially. Is this the game where Jimmy Graham really, truly comes alive?
That was going to be my next point. They have to look for him. He'll probably be spread out more often than he's tight in the formation because he's just simply a better receiver than he is coming off the ball like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his time to shine. There are no other options.
And I know it's just the bias part of me that's coming out, but I have a hard time seeing them not having Adams, Allison, and Cobb.
One of them will be healthy.
One, if not 2.
Yeah.
So, hopefully. It's a big game. Division,
Yep.
After you get fucked in the Vikings game by the refs and you shit your pants against Washington, you can't lose another game already. So because I think after this week, they've got like one more big game, but maybe one more game. I think they're home against San Fran next week, bye week. Then they have the Rams and the Patriots back-to-back weeks. So, these next couple weeks are kind of critical for their season because it's very possible they lose 2 in a row after the bye.
Yeah, they definitely need him, especially with how red hot the Chicago Bears have been.
Okay, there it is.
Just dominant.
Hey, Khalil Mack is Defensive Player of the Year right now.
He is. He's locked it up.
Back in a forced fumble 4 straight weeks is some otherworldly shit.
The next game, I've got Cleveland +3. I know we disagreed about this pre-show, I should say, against Baltimore. This is my thing with Baltimore. They haven't played anybody, and I know the Browns just lost to the Raiders, who aren't very good. But Baker showed that he can sling the ball around and lead this offense. That's all I needed to see. I think the defense is going to settle in, especially when you play at home. I don't trust Baltimore. It's that simple. Like Joe Flacco can either be an elite quarterback or he can be the guy that throws like 5 interceptions and a half.
I don't know. Did you watch what Marty Morningwig, the shit he was calling last week against Pittsburgh?
It wasn't great.
No, it was really good.
For Pittsburgh, it wasn't great.
Yeah. Who's the Ravens offensive coordinator? Who am I thinking of? Isn't that him?
Mark Trestman.
I'm Googling. It's a bad radio. We're Googling the Ravens offensive coordinator because I swore it was Marty Morningwig. Ravens offensive coordinator. Marty Morningwig. Told you.
Boom. Look at that.
Yeah. All right.
I did not check that whatsoever.
He called some exotic formations on offense. He lined up a tight end at like center or guard last week. It was insane. The guy caught a pass for a first down. Some wild trickery. But
I feel like that plays right into Cleveland's hands. Like the Browns are not a conventional football team in any sense of the word.
And neither is Greg Williams. But
yes, exactly. Bounty Gate.
But being serious though, Flacco has looked calm and composed this year. Their run game for Baltimore has looked good. Yes, Baltimore lost that Thursday night game to Cincinnati. I don't think Cleveland has played really anybody good nor competed against anybody very good. I think Pittsburgh stinks. I think the Raiders stink. I think the Jets stink. Who was their other game? I'm trying to think. They played one other game, I think. But I just don't think the Saints.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's when the Saints were going through a funk. Now they're out of their funk. But I think you're right about Cleveland's defense at home. I actually don't think Cleveland has a bad defense. I think they actually got some really good defensive players. I mean, you've got Myles Garrett. Demarius Randall's looked really good for them. Denzel Ward at corners looked great for them earlier in the year. Jamie Collins. Like, this is a unit that's got some good defensive players. But I think Baltimore, they're just running a smart offense right now. I don't think Flacco is really prone to turning the ball over. They keep possession of the ball. They're running the rock right now, and I just think they're the better football team, and I think they play good enough defense. I know Baker had he's looked good, and it's a challenge for Baltimore, but it's crazy to say that, but I'm taking them 3 points on the road. I mean, this is still the Browns. This is still a process, and Baltimore's looking like the best team in that division probably. So I'm going with them. And I think Cincinnati doesn't look bad either, but I think Baltimore looks pretty solid right now.
Yeah, and you touched on my next game. You said the Steelers stink, which works perfectly for me because despite being bit at least once, maybe twice, I'm going back to the Falcons, +3 at Pittsburgh. It feels like when they're this close this often that they've got to win. Like they have to pull one out. And even if disaster strikes like last week, at least they're getting points instead of giving them this week. So that's
an insane line. This line is insane. Has anyone seen the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers play defense? Matt Ryan, they're going to put up 1 billion points this week.
Well, that's the thought, but I mean, I don't know. Knowing my luck, this would be the week they find Julio Jones, and Julio Jones has a great game and then drops a couple passes in the end zone when they finally decide to target him in the red zone.
Yes.
The next one, I've got the LA Rams in Seattle, 7.5-point favorites. The Rams offense is so good, and I just don't see any way that Seattle can keep up with it. Earl Thomas is done for the year. That defense is a shell of itself. I love the Rams. I think they're going to win by at least 2 scores.
Love the Rams. I love them 7.5. Get the Rams in a teaser. Just get them in a teaser.
Yep.
This is good. It's just free money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to worry about it. Just get them in the teaser. Get Atlanta in the teaser. Get LA in the teaser, and then you're going to really start cooking. Because, man, I love Sean McVay's offense. Who does Seattle's defense? You literally have. I'm trying to think. The 2-armed Griffin brother is actually a very good corner.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a way to differentiate the two because I think they both are Shaquille. Isn't it?
Shaquille and Shaquem.
Yeah.
Shaquem's the linebacker. Shaquille's the defensive back.
Shaquille's really good, and Bobby Wagner I think is still fantastic. But that's 2 guys. You got 9 other guys on the field, and the Rams have Todd Gurley, one of the best, if not the best, offensive line right now. Jared Goff, Sean McVay's making life really easy on him. I mean, Robert Woods,
Brandon Cooks,
Cooper Kupp. They're just rolling. They're looking hard to stop right now. So, Seattle had a little momentum. You get a couple wins in a row, but unfortunately, that win against Arizona comes at a price. They beat Dallas at home, and it's still a tough place to play. I mean,
Dallas stinks. Oh, my God. The NFC East stinks.
Yeah, it does. And that's going to lead into one of my picks this week at the end.
It's going into mine. I hope you're doing the same thing as me. I'm taking the Vikings +3 at Philly.
That's not the one I'm thinking
of. Vikings +3 at Philly. Eagles have not scored more than 23 points this year. They've lost to a bad Tennessee team and a floundering Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Love the Vikings. I know they're 1-2-1. They could and should have probably won that Green Bay game. Either team had a chance to win it. Like, that's just how it goes. The Buffalo game is a fluke. Forget about it. And they hung in really well on the road on short rest at LA. Absolutely love the Vikings in this one.
The thing is, the Vikings, the whole thing with them has been the defense. And the defense, for the first time in a while, has looked quite vulnerable. The Rams speak for themselves. They're very good. Green Bay put up a lot of points on them. Josh Allen looked very good against them.
Josh Allen also had a starting field position of like the Vikings 30 that whole game.
But I'm telling you, this could be Carson Wentz's coming out party based on how things are going for the Vikings defense. Eagles, Lincoln Financial, it's a tough place to play. Early in the year, they made Atlanta. They made Atlanta struggle. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins on the road yet. He's never given me a reason anywhere on the road against a good team to give me a reason to believe in him. And I mean, he did play well last week, but I mean, the team still lost. I mean, he still hasn't gotten over the hump with that win. So I think based on his history and the way the Vikings defense looks, and Wentz possibly getting more comfortable as he's coming off that ACL and he gets more snaps under his belt, this line is close. Vikings obviously looking for revenge from last year, but NFC Championship blowout. But I'll take Philly at home. I think I'm taking Philly.
All right, those are my games. So I don't know what you have left on your card, but that's all I got.
Dun, 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 dun. This is the week where the Washington Fraudskins get exploded. I fucked that.
They get exploded. Yeah, I mean that works too.
They get exposed.
Mark Ingram's back.
They get exposed big time. So epic fail on the intro to what I was going to get at. But man, I'll tell you what. I don't know. I don't think Alex Smith in the Superdome is going to go well. I think New Orleans found their offense. Drew Brees is going for a record this week. There's just all kinds of intangibles going on. Washington's defense, like the one game they looked their best was a game where Green Bay dropped a shit ton of balls in the ring. Like completely wide open receivers dropping the ball. Their other games were against Arizona, who was futile. The Colts absolutely stink. The Saints needed that game against Atlanta. Heroic win. They're riding momentum. They're at home. Monday Night Football in the Superdome is always just where the fucking over hits. I mean, it's just give me Drew Brees going for the record at home against a team that's looked good early in the year. But I mean, Washington just gives me that pretender feel. I just can't see Alex Smith getting in a shootout with Drew Brees and winning. I can't see it happening.
Right.
Give me the Saints 6.5. Give me the Saints first half. Give me them every way to Sunday or Monday in this case.
Yeah.
So I love that. I said I like Baltimore, but I think the Saints is my most confident pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I love them in a teaser at home. So absolutely love them. Let me see what else I got. Little Bad Radio. The app is currently just shit itself as I'm scrolling.
This was this week. I feel like was much like the college football slate without any real, good games.
Yeah, the Green Bay game was looking interesting, and now you got to wait on it until the health, the injury report comes out for Green Bay because.
I mean, KC Jacksonville's a good game in and of itself, but it's like a nightmare to try and bet.
Yeah. Definitely a nightmare because KC's defense could definitely give up points, and Jacksonville's got a stout D, but at the same time, you've got Showtime Mahomes, which they needed a nickname.
The worst nickname ever.
Yeah. That is a nightmare to gamble on. I like Tennessee, but they just scare me on the road.
They stink. This will be a game they lose. Watch.
Yeah. Miami, Cincinnati, I think Cincinnati is a much better team, but I mean, God, these games all just suck.
Exactly. Now you know how hard it was for me to find 5 to pick. Every week I got to do this.
I always do this. I always go to the well with the teasers, but there's some games where I don't like. I just don't like a lot of these games at face value. I need teasing to get myself, or betting the first half or something to get myself interested in these games. Just not a good slate of games, but I think Atlanta +3 is absolutely criminal.
All right.
I think
that's where we'll leave it then.
Yeah.
Atlanta +3.
Yes. And I have a few, so folks at home don't know, big hockey guy over here, Go With The Flow podcast, obviously, is one of my contributions to the Let Me Be Frank
the host. He's the host.
Yeah, I'm the host, co-host, with Kevin Bartman and Dan Carrot.
Yes.
So there's a few games I like this weekend. So my Stanley Cup champion prediction is Tampa Bay Lightning. And last year, I made an absolute killing on them, betting the over. They're hosting Florida, who finished the year hot last year. Tampa just scores a bazillion goals on them every year. So that night features some serious, I think, home favorites, in my opinion, that I think you could round robin, parlay, bet the over on their individual goal totals. I think it pretty much all hits in that game, these few games. So it's Saturday night, so you got time to get it in or keep your eye on it. Obviously in hockey, the biggest thing is know who's starting between the pipes. But Pittsburgh at home against Montreal. Montreal is awful.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Ottawa's at Toronto. Ottawa is awful. Okay? And like I just said, Tampa Bay, they're an absolute wagon offensively. So I think those two games, the first two I mentioned, and especially if Carey Price is in the net for Montreal, which, I mean, he probably will be, but even still, Pittsburgh's going to outpossess the hell out of the puck. Toronto's going to skate circles around Ottawa. Ottawa doesn't have a defense at all anymore now that Erik Karlsson has been shipped to the San Jose Sharks. Toronto, you've got Marleau and Matthews and Tavares now. I mean, it's just insane. Mitch Marner, I mean, they just have so much offensive talent right now. At the same time, Tampa Bay and, Pittsburgh's been there, done that. And the one game that is always a gong show that I might bet on, but if I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, it really depends what it comes out at, because the over-under in hockey is usually 5.5 or 6. But this game every year sometimes comes out at 6.5. It's the Winnipeg-Dallas game. Always a shit show. Always a shit show. Go look at the score totals from last year. Both teams have goalies that can play pretty well. Hellebuck was great for Winnipeg last year. They rode him all the way. They have a great offense too, obviously, with Laine, Wheeler, and Ehlers and all them. But
howitzers on their blue line too.
Yeah, Laine had a one to start the year tonight already on the power play. He's just like Ovechkin. He's a shark. He just swims circles in the left circle, just waiting for one-timers and shit. And somehow the league hasn't figured it out for either guy for years now. That game's always a shit show. So Hellebuck and Bishop always have the potential to play well. But, that's my hockey spiel. But live bet by Chicago Blackhawks tonight, trailing to the shitty Ottawa Senators. Got them plus 285, losing in the third period, and a nice little payout. So
plenty of juice for the weekend. That's what I like to hear.
Plenty of juice for the weekend to bet on Notre Dame at Virginia Tech. Yeah, that line's stupid.
Boom.
I'm taking the hook. I'm laying some wood on it. Let's go.
Beautiful. That wraps up our episode this week. McGregor is my other lock. Just remember that. West Virginia first half.
We both got the Patriots, right? Had both. I mean,
of course.
Yeah, you got it.
Of course. That's our show. Like I said, we'll see you next week. Episode 6 in the books. Any final words?
Thank you all for listening, and good luck.
We'll see you next week.